The First Lady and Honorable Minister of Education and Sports, the Honorable Minister of Education, Minister of State for Education, Primary, Chair and Member of the Parliamentary Committee on Education and Sports, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Sports, the Chairperson and members of the UNEB board present, senior staff of UNEB and the Ministry of Education and Sports, the representatives of the security organizations here present, members of the Fourth Estate, that's members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Minister, we are pleased to present to you the results of the 2024 primary living examination, which was conducted smoothly on the 6th and 7th of November 2024 under the theme Embracing Security and Holistic Assessment of Learners in a Dynamic Environment. Mama, this theme enjoined all concerned to accept the essence of security at all stages of the examination process. The theme further emphasizes the assessment of the whole person, that is the cognitive, the affective, and the psychomotor domains. The theme also recognizes the fact that assessment is taking place in a rapidly changing environment driven by rapid developments in technology. Mama, we must be alive to these realities. Registration of the candidates. A total of 797,444 candidates from 14,883 centers registered for this examination, compared to 749,347 in 2023. Mama, of these, 524,025, or 65.7%, from 11,451 centers were beneficiaries of the government's universal education program. While 34.3% of the candidates were non-UPE. Mama, Table 1 gives the details of the candidature and the centers, and we've run this, and we can also see the increase from 2019. 2022 is an outlier year because, Mama, we had the issue, the problems of COVID, and so there was that COVID bulge, which eventually was absorbed, and from 2023, the number of registered candidates started getting normal to what we have been expecting. The table indicates that we have had an increase of 48,190, or 6.4% over the previous year. Mama, this is also higher than the expected increase rates of about 3 to 3.5%. 8,709 compared to 418,750, or 52.5% being girls, indicating, Mama, in the recent years. Last year, the percentage was 52.3 for girls against 47.7. Yes, 3.2 in Mama, the number of SNE candidates continues to increase annually due to the awareness that the chairperson's deliberate efforts. Of these percent, the board registered 70. It is worth noting education as they served, but other branches are now making. Overall numbers of candidates registered and those that took the examination is given in table number 2, again from 2019 coming to 2024 over a period of 5 years. What we observe from there is the fact that absenteeism has decreased. Last year, 2023, there were 12,323 or 1.6%. This time round, this number has dropped to 10,463 or 1.3. So from that table, Mama, we note that there is a general decrease in absenteeism annually, except 2022, which I have said is an outlier year because of the impact of COVID. So we are happy to note that more of the children who are entering school are staying on until they do the end of cycle examination. Honorable Minister, allow me now to comment on the performance of the candidates. An item response analysis was done on the scores of the candidates in each of the 4 subjects. The overall results show the percentages of candidates that exhibited high ability levels, medium ability levels, and low ability levels in the mastery of the subject knowledge and skills. We have table 3 that indicates that 17.4% of our candidates in mathematics were in the high ability level, 17.0 in English, and 14.3 in integrated science, and 14.7 in social studies with religious education, religious studies. Other ability levels are indicated under the various subjects. Just a little explanation of those ability levels, very brief, simple, is that the low ability levels of candidates are these candidates who are able to remember and recall facts, and they show some limited level of understanding of those facts. The medium ability candidates remember and recall those facts. They show an understanding of these facts and can apply some of these concepts in solving in a problem-solving situation. However, they have difficulties in applying these facts in new situations. The high ability candidates will remember the facts, they will recall, they will show understanding. In other words, they will do all that the 2 levels do, and on top of that, they are able to apply these facts or concepts in problem-solving situations and also applying these facts in completely new situations. So the table indicates that the high ability level candidates are slightly less than 20% is already indicated, and the other percentages have also been indicated. The overall performance by grades, that is a distinction, credit, and pass. The performance of the candidates in the 4 subjects is compared over the 2-year period, 2024 and 2023, in table 4. This performance is indicated at distinction 2 and above level, credit 6 and above level, and the minimum pass 8 and above level. The table indicates the subjects, the total number of candidates appearing for each subject. You will realize that the numbers are not the same, and this is normal because not all the candidates who sat mathematics on the first day sat the other subjects. So you would find various numbers of candidates being absent for a particular subject for some reason. So the numbers are not the same. We note from this table, Mama, that there is, the table indicates that overall, at grade 8 and above, candidates performed better in social studies and religious education, integrated science, and mathematics. However, there was an overall drop in performance in English compared to 2023. It should also be noted from the table that, the distinction scores have dropped in all the subjects. The higher, whereas the cumulative percentages at 6 and 8 appear better than 2023, we'll note that at English, this year, 2024, 4.9% of our candidates obtained a distinction 2 and above, compared to 7.8 in 2023. In social studies and religious education, we have 7.9% this year, compared to 9.4% of the previous year. Similarly, integrated science with 6.4% this year compared to 9.3% in 2023. And mathematics is where we have seen some much better performance of 7.4 compared to 5.3. Overall performance by aggregate, the highest aggregate is 4, where a candidate has managed to get a distinction 1 in all the 4 subjects, and the lowest is aggregate 36, where the candidate has scored 9 in all the 4 subjects. And the figure shows the spread of the aggregates from 4 to the left, going towards 36 to the right. So there is a skew to the left, showing that the majority of our candidates are scoring in the range of 11 and 30. When you look at that frequency distribution, the aggregate 4s that are so cherished are quite few. Comparison of subject performance by gender. Table 5 shows the performance by gender. The figures are in cumulative percentages at each level. We show that in English, at distinction 2 and above, the female candidates score are at 4.6%, while the males are at 5.1. Rather, the males are at 4.6, the females are at 5.1. SST, the males are at 8.9 compared to 6.9. Then the science, similarly, the percentages are scored, are shown. The table, shows the usual trend of females doing much better than their male counterparts in English. Somehow the men have not they have not been able to wrap their heads around what is in English, that they cannot do well. So every year the girls are giving them a bloody nose. However, when they come to social studies, integrated science, and mathematics, their performance is better. Now we show the overall performance by division. Table 6 shows the overall performance of candidates by division of grades in 2024 compared to performance in 2023. The divisions are indicated in the first column. The number of candidates scoring the division is indicated, the cumulative number as we go down, and then the percentages, and also the cumulative percentages. On the right-hand side, we have same information given for 2023. We represent that same information in bar graph showing the percentages. Now, from the table and the bar graph, we observe that a higher proportion of the 2024 candidates passed in Division 2 and above level. Overall, the performance of candidates is better than that of 2023. A higher proportion of the candidates passed, that is 91.8% of all the candidates that sat the examination in 2024 passed, compared to 88.0%. However, as we have already observed, there is a drop in the number of candidates indicating obtaining Division 1. Division U is awarded to candidates who have failed to reach the minimum level of performance that can be awarded a minimum Division 4. They are usually not allowed, they are not admissible. Mama will also give the overall performance by gender. In Table 7, we show the males and the females, the numbers, the percentages at the different divisions, disaggregated by male and female. The table indicates that proportionally, males performed better than the females, and they also recorded a lower failure rate. The same information is also shown in Figure 3. However, in terms of numbers, there are more girls in Division 2 and at the lower divisions, because of the fact that more candidates are registered sat the examinations than boys. More girls sat the examination than boys. So in terms of numbers, you will see the numbers are bigger in the table, but when you work out proportions in terms of percentages, that is how you can compare those. So we have the bar graph showing those percentages as reflected in Table 7, Mama. I report now, Mama, on the performance of special candidate groups, starting with the prison inmates. At the Uganda Government Upper Prison School in Luzira, as I said, 71 candidates were registered, and this was an increase of 2 candidates on 2023, where there were 69. Of the 71 candidates who were registered, 59 of those sat, and 4 of them obtained Division 1, 36 obtained Division 2, 13 obtained Division 3, and 6 obtained Division 4. And Mama, very happily, none of them was ungraded. I thought that deserved an applause for the inmates. 12 did not take the examination. Perhaps they were released before the exams. At Mbarara Main Prisons, Inmates Primary School, 37 candidates were registered, and all of them were present for the examination. And of those, 4 obtained Division 1, 20 of them are in Division 2, 10 are in Division 3, while 3 are in Division 4. Again, none of them was ungraded. These figures, Mama, indicate a very encouraging performance by the inmates. Now, special needs candidates, the Table 8 shows the performance of the special needs candidates, and we have indicated the category: the blind, the low vision, the deaf, the physically handicapped, the dyslexics, and others. I will explain what these others are. And we show them Division 1, 2, 3, disaggregated by gender. The figure is a bit crowded, the table, but one can study and see that of all the SNE candidates, only 48 did not take the examination, and the majority of candidates obtained Division 2. 1,713 of them out of the 3,328, and if you remove the 48. So this performance is above the national average. As the chair explained in his remarks, last year and the previous year, Mama, we had seen that the deaf candidates appeared to be particularly hard hit by their disability, and their results were not showing. But I am happy to note that although we have not shown, the chair's speech has indicated that last year, 2023, results up to 44, nearly 50% of them were ungraded. But this year, happily, that reduced to 23, and we hope that this is going to reduce further. A worrying development which the chairperson mentioned is that the board has noticed that in a few schools they are registering perfectly normal pupils to be recognized as special needs candidates. They are hiding these candidates under the category that we have indicated as others. Now, Mama, these others are pupils that suffer from health conditions such as asthma, epilepsy, or sickle cell anemia. And the board recognizes that such candidates may get attacks during the examination period and has put in place a facility where they can be given 45 minutes extra. However, they do not require any specialized assistance, like the blind would need braille and the deaf would need sign language interpreters and so on and so forth. These ones are given 45 minutes. The errant schools we have discovered, we found they have been selecting their good pupils. They register them as others in order that these candidates benefit for the extra time of 45 minutes. The chair has already mentioned the measures that the board intends to take to address this fraud. We have also given, we have a document that we have enclosed, the district performance. We have summarized the performance by district. Members will be able to see because they are enclosed. But we observe, Mama, that there are some districts that are persistently having very, very high percentages of candidates in the U category. You will see on page 1, Alebtong with 22.4. You see Bulambuli with 26.1. Butebo with 21.1. Dokolo with 20.1. And so on and so forth. Others, Kitgum with 21.3, Madiokolo with 24.1, Manafa with 22.8. Mama, these are very high percentages of candidates who are ungraded, and something definite should be done about it. Mama, I give brief comments on the work of the candidates. The analysis we carried out indicates that the candidates, including even those that are in the high ability categories, had difficulty in a number of learning areas. And the table we are given down here is just, we picked some of the more prominent ones. Mathematics, showing that our candidates have problems in solving word problems, interpreting information on a Venn diagram. These are very important concepts. Geometry, the pie chart, fractions, all these are very important concepts. In English, we have candidates who have problems in drawing inferences from passages that are given and using this to answer questions not directly extracted. They have to infer. Or writing compositions with a correct structure. In science, they have problems, they showed problems in real life situations like the effects of drugs abuse on the family, some experimental activities like making an electromagnet, then applying the properties of images and so on and so forth. At social studies, those are the areas, important things like stating the importance of worship of God or Allah, the influence of the human activity on climate change, explaining the importance of the population census on different categories of citizens of our country, explaining the factors necessary to start income-generating activities. Mama, these are real-life situations, issues that seem to be abstract, probably showing the result of the kind of teaching that is detached from reality. Mama will comment on examination malpractice. The board successfully delivered examination question papers up to the sitting centers. I greatly appreciate the efforts of the education officials, that is the district inspectors of schools and the district education officers and the chief administrative officers at the local governments for ensuring that the distribution of examination papers was done by credible officers, and therefore no cases of damaging question paper envelopes to access the contents was reported or detected throughout the country. I want to thank the district officials for this. However, the challenge now is going down to the school level, where we arrested 4 head teachers who, in collaboration with the invigilators, opened the envelopes in order to assist their candidates. And we have also observed that teachers were arrested assisting candidates on the chalkboard, and the main subject involved was mathematics. A total of 68 suspects have so far been arrested. We are still following them up. Not just about 3 days ago, we picked one who was in hiding, and we have assured them that we are going to follow them up. And they've been charged in courts of law and remanded, and happily we have already secured 12 convictions and sentencing. I'm very, very grateful to our dedicated security team that has worked so hard on these cases of malpractice. Many of the suspects that have been arrested have confessed that they will abandon this practice and go back to actual teaching. We are also grateful to the judicial officers before whom these suspects appeared, because they interpreted the relevant sections of the UNEB Act, Cap 259, correctly and handed down appropriate sentences. As a result, Mama, many of the perpetrators of examination malpractice are finding the habit very costly. In accordance with Section 5, subsection 2B of the UNEB Act, the board will withhold the results of the affected candidates pending the completion of investigations. Where there will be a prima facie case, the tribunal will accord the affected candidates a fair hearing before making final decisions. This has been the practice. Allow me, Mama, to say thank you. I give glory to God who gave us the strength and fortitude to do this work. I join the board chairperson in thanking you, Mama, for the support that we received from you during the course of preparation of the examinations. You always found time to listen to our challenges, especially on funding. Your concerns are always a big motivating factor to us as we deal with those challenges. I thank the chairperson and the board members for exercising good corporate governance and effectively playing their oversight role. They have allowed the management the latitude to think and innovate as they provide the support that we need. In that conducive environment, Mama, we have been able to deliver on our institutional mandate. I'm grateful, Mama, to the chairperson and members of the Committee on Education and Sports of Parliament, here represented by the Vice Chair, Honorable Molia Simwe, and the Member, Honorable Emmanuel Ongerto. They have done their best to support UNEB in the quest for appropriate funding in order to effectively execute its functions. I thank the Inspector General of Police, the Chief of the Defense Forces, the district leaders, the chief administrative officers, district and urban education officials, monitors, scouts, and all the other people who participated in this examination for their support. At this point, Mama, allow me to, although they have stood up, I heard the MC saying they would be properly introduced at some appropriate moment. And as is the practice of the forces, I hope I'm right, their greeting is to give a decent salute. And where they are standing, Mama, it's a bit dark, you may not see them properly, so I'll request them to come to the open so that you can see them and they can greet you in the way they know best. We have Brigadier General William Bainamugisha, Commandant of the Military Police, who was leading the military police efforts. And through the military police, a lot of sanity has been brought in the security of our examination. He is assisted by Colonel Napoleon Namanya, also the 2IC of the military police. From the police, we had Commissioner of Police Godfrey Mate, who was leading the operations side, and then Assistant Commissioner Bob Kagarora from the CID leading the investigation side. These are the people who did a lot in order to get us where we are. Of course, behind them, there are several people. So thank you very much. I think you can now fall out. Sorry? Mama wants to have a photo moment, and this is something that you will cherish. Thank you very much, Mama, for according them that rare honor. It's not often that you get an opportunity to have a picture moment with the mother of the nation at such close quarters. Mama, I want to thank the examiners who marked the scripts and completed this in good time to enable other processes to take place, culminating in the release of these results today. And Mama, in a very special way, to appreciate the staff of the UNEB Secretariat. These people have always risen to the occasion to serve their country with hard work and dedication. And this has been more so as the board had to administer 4 examinations in the same season and grapple with the novel activities in preparation for implementing the new lower secondary curriculum. May God bless them. Mama, selfishly, if they were allowed, is it possible to give the same opportunity to these gallant sons and daughters of the nation? Director, please lead your team for this rare opportunity with the Honorable Minister. I believe I will have my own photo moment. I come. We go. Thank you, Mama, for acquiescing to my selfish request. That photograph will find pride of place in our offices and in our houses. The media, Mama, played an outstanding role in giving prominence to examination activities right from the time we were registering, launching the timetable, and announcing the start of the examinations. They also gave outstanding prominence to examination activities, rather exposing examination malpractice. Mama, the picture of suspects, those pictures that appeared in the electronic and the print media played quite some roles in deterring others. I salute the media. And I also congratulate all the candidates who have passed, the teachers who prepared them, and the parents, the guardians for their support. Finally, Mama, I wish to thank the institutions that allowed UNEP to use their premises and facilities to mark the 2014 PLE, despite the fact that schools always have a lot of other activities during the holidays. Collection of results. Mama, as soon as you release these results, they will be uploaded on the examination center portals so that each school can download their results. However, the district, municipal, and city inspectors of schools who may wish, as they usually do, to collect hard copies of these results, we advise them to visit the UNEP offices in Ntinda from Monday, 27th January 2025. Right now, we do not have any copies available. Those that are interested can access the results on the SMS, as we have always given the direction. You go to the message menu, type PLE and leave a space, and put the full index number of the candidate and send to 6600. A lot of times people waste their money. They do not type the index numbers correctly, and they don't get the results, and they think the results are not on. I urge centers to study these results and submit any queries on name spellings, date of birth, or any other error that they think they can detect to UNEP within 2 weeks from the date of release, so that these corrections can be done and the result slips printed in good time. Mama, I also like to warn heads of centers against giving false results. It's becoming a habit. Last year we had a school, the head teacher gave every candidate end of their recommendations with very good grades, and parents went ahead to use these grades to access admission to secondary schools, only to find at the end that these grades were false grades. Mama, I conclude by praying that may God bless His Excellency the President, Mama, may God bless you. May God bless the Ministry of Education and Sports. May God bless the Uganda National Examinations Board. Bless our Parliament, and may God bless our motherland, Uganda. Mama, with these few words, I want to thank you for listening to me, and I wish to submit. Thank you.
I think we all agree that UNEP has done a good job. Can we give them a mighty asante sana? Let us warm. Asante sana. Ongeza tena. Ya mwisho sasa. Thank you very much. Mama, with your permission, may I request the chairperson, UNEB, the ED UNEB, to present to you the examination results book, and they will be accompanied by the PS, the Honorable Minister, and the members of Parliament present. Thank you very much, UNEB. I will request Honorable Kaduchu to officially invite Mama to give her address.
Mama, our First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports. Mama, permit me to respectfully observe the protocol that has been set before. On behalf of the Ministry of Education and Sports and the entire education and sports family, permit me, Mama, to congratulate you and salute you as the head of this sector for this milestone we are celebrating today. We do not take this achievement for granted. Your visionary leadership and the strategic directives in this sector has made it possible for UNEP team and all stakeholders to work hard to achieve these results and to maintain the standards. Mama, this is a true manifestation of your dedication to secure the future for our children in Uganda. May God give you more wisdom and bless you as you continue to provide strategic directives for this sector. The Bible tells us from the book of James, chapter 1, verse 17, and I quote, "Every good gift comes from God, and every perfect gift is from Him." We are indeed thankful to God for your gift as the mother of the nation and as the Minister of Education and Sports. We will forever remain grateful to you for building a solid principles based on Christian values and integrity, team spirit, work ethics, transparency and accountability that has enabled this ministry to perform and to shine. We are thankful to you equally for cultivating in our schools policies that favor excellent academics, religion, and cultural formation in our schools, which in turn nurtures children to be God-fearing citizens for this country in future. Mama, permit me to register our sincere appreciation to his and stability in this country, which has provided conducive environment for examination transportation, for examination supervision, far and near, day and night, without disruption. We are grateful to the President. We are equally grateful to the President for the various initiatives under his leadership, especially the strategy of universal primary education with the agenda of leaving no child behind. As you release the PLE 2024 results today, it's important for the public to note that 65.7% of the candidates who registered for PLE 2024 were universal primary education beneficiaries. We are very thankful for that percentage. And for that matter, no one can deny the fact that our primary universal education system has produced some of the best brains that has made our country to walk tall, both academically and in the world of work, regionally and globally. The literacy level in Uganda has equally risen. It has drastically increased from way back 43% to the current level of 74%. This is due to the strategy of primary universal education. Mama, indeed, UPE has significant impact at household level. It is the backbone of a country's socioeconomic well-being. UPE has tremendously bridged the gender parity. To date, girls constitute 52.5% of candidates registered for PLE 2024, compared to 45% girls registering for PLE way back before the advent of UPE. Mama, with your permission, I wish to assure our parents that government has enough capacity to accommodate all the candidates who have passed PLE 2024 examination. I therefore appeal to all our parents and all stakeholders to ensure that all our learners transit to secondary education and technical vocational education so as to complete their basic education cycle, which is a very critical necessity for their survival, and also it benefits our country's development and growth agenda. For those who do not make it as to the expectation, there is always room to repeat and get better grades. Lastly, as I conclude, Mama, through you, I wish to congratulate and thank UNEP team under the able leadership of the chairperson, Professor Bua, and the Executive Director, Mr. Dan, and the entire team of Ministry of Education and Sports Delegation, members of Parliament, for ensuring that the integrity and credibility of PLE examination is maintained and it remains high by taking appropriate actions for those found guilty in examination malpractice. I thank you so much for listening. Long live Mama Janet, long live His Excellency, our President, and long live our country, Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my singular honor and duty to invite Mama, our First Lady, our Minister of Education and Sport, to address the nation and officially release the 2024 PLE results. Ladies and gentlemen, let's rise up and put our hands together to welcome our Mama as she comes to address the nation for God and my country.
Thank you, Honorable Kadochu. Please sit down. My colleagues, the Honorable Ministers of State, represented here by Honorable Kadochu, the Chairperson and members of the Education and Sports Committee of Parliament, represented by 2 members of Parliament right here, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education and Sports, and your team, the Chairperson and members of the Board of UNEB, the Executive Director, UNEB, and your team, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all and Happy New Year. I wish to first of all thank God for the gift of life for all of us here and throughout our country. By His grace, we have completed the 2024 school calendar activities that have culminated in the release of the 2024 primary living examination results today. As you all know, this is the first in a series of the end of cycle UNEB examination results, released annually in the basic and secondary level of education right here in Kampala. We praise God for the good weather during the examination days, since we know that we normally experience very heavy rainfall in November. The fact that God held back the rains so that our children could take the examinations without having to deal with the challenges of going to school in bad weather, it is testimony that our God is indeed a faithful God. Similarly, yes, I think He deserves a clap. Similarly, I recall that in 2023, UNEB informed us that the PLE was not interrupted by the weather in most parts of the country in 2023, despite the fact that it was a rainy season. This is not a mere coincidence, and I want to thank God again for that also. Now, with regard to UNEB's undertaking in 2024, we were all aware that the year would be quite unusual, as it would involve holding another UCE examination for those learners who had previously used the old lower secondary curriculum and were repeating UCE to see if they could improve on their previous performance. In addition to that, 2024 was the year that we conducted the first UCE examinations for the pioneer cohort of the revised lower secondary curriculum. So, I want to thank God and thank UNEB for a successful end of cycle examinations and the season, as evidenced by what we have heard from the statement of release of the 2024 PLE results. I must also say that I am pleased with the theme. The theme, as you heard from Mr. Odong, in quotes, embracing security and holistic assessment of learners in a dynamic environment, unquote. that UNEB chose, that's the theme that UNEB chose for this examination season. The security of our examinations at all stages of development and administration is extremely important to guarantee results that are credible. It gives an assurance to us as a country and beyond that our certificates are a result of a valid and reliable process, hence enhancing their acceptability. This theme also underscores the holistic assessment of the candidate. Furthermore, as you have heard from the Executive Secretary's statement, for the first time, UNEB looked at whether the learners had attained mastery of knowledge and skills in the subjects they studied. Assessing for the mastery of knowledge and skills is a very commendable direction that UNEB has introduced to help us make meaning out of the aggregates and grades that we have been seeing our learners attain every time we get these results. Measuring mastery of knowledge and skills provides a better appreciation of the extent to which the learner has been able to gain in-depth knowledge in the given subject, how to apply the knowledge and analyze information in order to solve problems in environments that they are familiar with and in new situations as well. Therefore, I encourage UNEB to provide teachers with additional guidance and training so that they gain a better understanding and appreciation of the assessment of mastery of knowledge and skills, and how they can use this approach to tailor individual attention to learners who may be struggling in one or more areas. It is good to note now that our universal education policy has enabled more children to attend school, as seen from the significant increase in candidature and decrease in dropout or absenteeism. That is now at only 1.3%, as we heard from Mr. Odong. As you have heard in the statement of his release, this trend has been on a steady decline over the last 5 years, from a high of 1.8% in 2019. Nonetheless, I want to call upon head teachers and school management committees to pay attention to the problem of learner dropout, especially those that have registered for PLE. We must look into this issue and understand why a learner who has registered to sit PLE does not show up to sit these exams, even though it's on the decrease. But it's better we look out into this and know what makes these learners drop out at the last minute. So I'm pleased that during yesterday's briefing on the release of these results, the PS of the Ministry of Education and Sports committed to comprehensively look into the list of the local governments and schools from which the 1.3% dropped out, or the dropout occurred, so that we can at least know going forward what the problems are. I think all of us here and those listening to us through the various media channels appreciate that any school dropout is an undesirable state, and there are those issues that the government needs to address to eliminate school dropouts, but there are others that we may not know yet. However, let us all remember that each learner comes from a family. So we should also look into the ways of strengthening the family to play its role and obligations to ensure that every child who joins Primary 1 not only completes Primary 7, but also progresses to and completes lower secondary education at the very minimum. We need caring and empowering families to support learners by reinforcing the learning attained in school. Otherwise, the expectation that schools or the education system should shoulder the entire responsibility of learning and grooming children is not only unrealistic, but it's also wrong. And we must really talk to the parents and mobilize our communities to know the major role they have in the learning of their children. Now, coming back to today's results, I want to appreciate the work done by the Uganda Prison Service in offering education services to the inmates. This has been happening at Luzira, we know now, for some years, but UNEP has extended the opportunity to inmates at Mbarara prisons as well. This is commendable because the time an inmate spends in prison should also be used for education, which is an important aspect of the process of personal transformation and character correction, so to speak. I applaud the efforts UNEB, the Ministry of Education and Sports, as well as all the other stakeholders have put into increasing access to education opportunities for children with special education needs. Not only has the enrollment of this category of learners been increasing, but as you have heard, more of them are also sitting for the end of the cycle examination. PLE performance was overall better than the previous cycle, even though the proportion of learners that got Division 1 reduced. The encouragement I have for all those that pass PLE is that there are various opportunities for post-primary education in secondary schools as well as technical education. And to those learners whose PLE results have not met their expectations, I encourage you, I encourage your families to persevere and give PLE another try. As I stated before, last year, learners repeating P7 in UPE schools are still eligible to benefit from the capitation grant. So nonetheless, for parents who may want to consider a career in technical education for their children, I want to encourage and motivate them to aspire to complete at least O-level. As I said before, this is because lower secondary education is vital in getting learners grounded in basic knowledge of the natural sciences such as physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, and other earth sciences that are vital as foundational knowledge, especially in technical education. So please do not limit your children's aspirations to merely completing Primary 7. I am glad now that the items that UNEB is using in the examination papers are addressing the use of knowledge and skills in solving our everyday problems, just as I mentioned earlier about the mastery of knowledge and skills. This is the thrust of our education, to produce citizens who have skills and competencies necessary to solve the human problems as a nation. Teachers must take heed of UNEB's findings from the work of candidates and go back to the basics of teaching holistically. I am pleased to hear that the local government officials worked closely with UNEB in the safe distribution of examination papers to sitting centers, with no incidents reported. However, It is unfortunate to learn that some school directors and their head teachers provided direct assistance to the candidates in the examination room. In such cases, we shall let the law take its course and thereafter subject those found guilty to the appropriate disciplinary process of the teaching service. It is unfortunate to hear incidences like that still happening in our schools. I express my sincere appreciation to all the government agencies, including the security forces, the judiciary, and other stakeholders that play a critical role in ensuring that the government delivers quality end-of-cycle examinations for their unwavering support and commitment. Thank you once again to UNEB, the board and your secretariat under the leadership of Professor Obua and Mr. Odong for presiding over a successful 2024 PLE examination season. May God bless you, really bless you. Allow me now to thank the parents and guardians that supported all our children whose results are being released today. Thank you for all the sacrifices you make for the education and well-being of your children. My gratitude also goes to the teachers and staff in all our schools who do a great job in the learning experience of these young people. Well done to all of you. Lastly, I call upon the general public and especially families that have children that shall be reporting back to school for the new academic year to take the necessary precautions against the monkeypox disease. All of us have heard about that. The Ministry of Education and Sports, working together with the Ministry of Health, issued guidelines to schools on how to manage and respond to the mpox outbreak. Therefore, I urge all heads of the education institutions of learning to keenly follow the periodic updates released by the Ministry of Health and guide your staff, learners, and parents appropriately. Finally, I'd like to inform the public that the selection exercise for Senior 1 will take place on the 30th and 31st of January 2025. The Ministry of Education and Sports will communicate the further details. We expect first term for the Senior 1 cohort of 2025 to commence on the 17th of February 2025. It is now my singular honor and pleasure to release the 2024 primary living examination results for the public use. I thank you all. As once again, here we are. 2024 PLE results. God bless you all and God bless Uganda.
Thank you, Mama. The usual practice during the release of exams, we usually have a summary of your address in Luganda, and that job is ably played by Honorable Muyingo. Unfortunately, today he's not here with us. We are going to, with your permission, I would like to request Dr. Cleophas Mugenyi, who has a better mastery of the Luganda language amongst us here, to give us a brief summary.
neyanziza mukulu wa program w'omukolo gw'olwaleero. Basebo ne bannyabo, olwaleero nga 23 January, First Lady ate Minister w'enjigiriza n'emizannyo afulumizza ebyava mu bibuuzo by'abaana abaatuula ekibiina ky'omusanvu omwaka oguwedde. Ng'ayogera eri eggwanga abaagaliza omwaka omulungi, ate n'ayebaza Katonda olw'ekirabo ky'obulamu ekiyambye okulaba nti omwaka twagumalako bulungi, nga gubadde omwaka ogulimu ebyokukola bingi naddala ebibuuzo by'abaana ab'essiniya ey'okuna eby'emirundi 2 naddala abaatuula ebibuuzo mu kalikulamu empya. Ebibuuzo ebifulumye olwaleero biraga nti program ya bonna basome Universal Primary Education eyambye nnyo abaana b'eggwanga lino okusoma mu masomero gaffe, nga bwe tulabye nti omuwendo ogw'abaana abaatuula ebibuuzo bino gweyongedde, tugasseeko abaana abawera kumpi 5,000. Ate n'atutegeeza nti okulaba nti puroguramu eno ekola bulungi, omuwendo gw'abaana abeewandiisa nga tebasobola kukola bibuuzo gugenze gukendeera okuva ku butundu kamu 1.8 mu 2019 kaakati gutuuse ku 1.3 mu mwaka guno ogw'2024. Asabye bakulu b'amasomero, abazadde n'abalala bonna abakola ku byenjigiriza okwebuuza ensonga lwaki abaana beewandiisa ate ne batasobola okutuula ebibuuzo, n'okulaba nti tunoonyereza tulabe kiki ekisobola okukolebwa. Abadde musanyufu nti omuwandiisi w'enkalakkalira obw'eminisitule y'enjigiriza n'emizannyo agenda kunoonyereza alabe disitulikiti ezisinze okukola bubi mu kulaba nti abaana bayeewandiisa ate batasobola okukola ebibuuzo bino. Akinyonyodde bulungi nti amaka gwe musingi gw'eggwanga wiyirimiridde, n'olwekyo n'asaba abazadde okulaba nti abaana bagenda mu masomero nga batandise ekibiina ekisooka basobole okulaba nti bamala ekyomusanvu. Bwe bamala ekyomusanvu beeyongereyo basome siniya n'amadaala amalala okutuusa bamaliza emisomo gyabwe. Asabye abazadde okulaba nti batuukiriza obuvunaanyizibwa bwabwe, baleme okulowooza nti gavumenti n'ebitongole ebirala bye bigenda okubayamba. Asiimye nnyo ekitongole eky'amakomera Uganda Prison Service okulaba nti luli abaana abasibe babadde batuula ebibuuzo bino luzira, naye kaakati na ku kkomera ly'Embalala nabo batudde ebibuuzo bino. N'akinoganya nti kikulu nnyo abasibe bano okubawa omugisa okusoma kubanga bamala obudde bungi mu makomera, ate kino kibayamba okukyusa obulamu bwabwe. Yeebazizza nnyo nti abaana abaliko obulemu ku mibiri gyabwe omuwendo gwabwe gugenze gweyongera, naddala abo abatasobola okuwulira obulungi. Asabye abazadde okulaba nti abaana bonna abayise ebibuuzo bino bagenda ne basoma secondary ne technical, ate n'asaba abo abatasobodde